Mustang is a staple of American car culture. It's got the tough looks, the throaty V8, and of course, the 6-speed manual transmission. This is the 2024 Ford Mustang GT, and I'm Alanis King. Today, I want to show you 5 things I love about this car and 1 thing I'm not so hot about. But before we get to this Mustang, I want to say this video is brought to you by Apex Coffee Roasters. Apex is awesome. I mean, look at this branding. It's got the Gulf colors. It just looks so good. It's got Apex spelled down the side in stripes, and it tastes awesome. I'm serious. Apex knows what they are doing, and every time I drink this coffee, I'm like, wow, that is so good. So if you want to try it, you can use code ALANIS to get 15% off your order. I think it's important before we get to the 5 things to start with a little bit of context about this car. And because this is a Mustang, the context starts under the hood. This car has a 5-liter naturally aspirated Coyote V8 engine. Ow, ow, ow!
A New Jersey woman survives a vicious coyote attack in her neighborhood.
And this V8 makes 486 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque. All of that goes through a 6-speed manual transmission to the rear wheels. But a Mustang is about more than just its power. We have a whole history here to talk about. The Mustang is one of the longest-running names in the entire auto industry. It launched in 1964 for the 1965 model year, and it was an immediate hit. Ford expected to sell 100 to 150,000 Mustangs in the first year, but sold 22,000 of them in the first, wait for it, day. By the end of the first year, Ford sold more than 418,000 Mustangs. The Ford Mustang has been through 7 generations since, and this car is from the 7th generation, of course, because it's brand new. And over the years, the Mustang has gone through a lot of different identities and sometimes identity crises. There's a really fascinating history behind all of the changes to the Mustang, but I talked about that in a recent video about the Mustang Dark Horse. So for people who watch that, I don't want to repeat it for them here. We're going to put a link on the screen to that video so you can open it to watch in a minute. The Ford Mustang is the pony car. You know it, I know it, and everybody else knows it. When we were in high school, what car did people want? The Mustang. Why? Because it was cool. And I think this definition of cool is actually different than a lot of car enthusiasts' definitions of cool. Because car enthusiasts have cars they like. All of these different cars that normal people on the street would not blink twice at, we think are the coolest things ever. But the Mustang has managed to transcend car culture cool and be mainstream cool. Do I think that's benefited the Mustang in a lot of ways? Yes. Do I also think that that has helped car enthusiasts discount the Mustang? Yes, I do. We're going to talk about it. The Mustang being a very mainstream cool car has led to some weird gatekeeping, I think, in the automotive industry. I'm very anti-gatekeeping. I think we should all be very anti-gatekeeping. But none of us can lie that people in general have a tendency to want to protect the things they like. And when they meet new people or they see random people who don't qualify as liking that thing, they get a little protective of it, right? If you've been a fan of cars for decades and you're like, I know every little thing about the Mustang, this person just decided they like Mustangs today, you feel superior, right? And you want to prove that you're superior. And I think we got a lot of that with, say, Netflix's Drive to Survive, the Formula One documentary. A bunch of new fans came in, and existing Formula One fans were like, but you don't know about the engineering and everything else. I think we get that sometimes with mainstream cool cars. How did that gatekeeping manifest, you ask? Well, in the mid-2010s, we all had a shared joke, and that was, when a Mustang leaves Cars and Coffee, you better stay away from it because it is gonna wreck and it is going to go into a crowd and it is gonna hit you. And was it funny for quite a while? Yeah, it was funny for quite a while because one, we all really love a shared joke, and two, we wanted to feel superior because we're not out here picking the easy car. We're different. We're going after Mark IV Supras instead of new Mustangs. It was a way for all of us to feel like we were kind of gatekeeping our hobby, just making fun of Mustangs. And do Mustangs deserve to be made fun of as a car? Absolutely not. Deep down, I think even throughout the 2010s, and especially now, all of us know two things. One, the Mustang is a really, really, really good car, which we're gonna see. And two, the Mustang represents childlike joy. When I drive Mustangs, especially modified Mustangs with giant hoods, and they're really loud and they're just silly, it feels like driving a kid's race car bed. You're having fun. And there are a couple sides to that. One of the sides is you're in traffic and you're driving your manual Mustang and you don't know if the person next to you, if they're a car enthusiast, you don't know if they recognize you as a fellow car enthusiast because this is a mainstream cool car. But two, you're having a lot of fun because ultimately at some time in your life, you've looked at a Mustang and gone, I kind of want one of those. I kind of want to feel like a kid driving a race car bed. And you get to do that in a Mustang. You know what else we get to do? Our final task before we get into our 5 things, how many Atlantises fit in this Ford Mustang GT's trunk? Take off our hat, Apex Coffee Roasters. Take out our phone, plop that down. And this trunk is big! I'm so excited. This is such an easy day at work for me. Maybe. I'm not flexible. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. It's like laying in a king-size bed, isn't it? Come on down. Maybe. Come on. This is so comfortable. Easily 1.75 Atlantises could fit in here and be just fine. And if you're watching this video and you're like, man, why am I watching a video about a Ford? I like Chevy. This Jeff Gordon shirt, 15% off at Home Field Apparel with code Atlantis24. The first thing I absolutely love about this 2024 Ford Mustang GT is that I think these looks have aged really gracefully from the last generation of the car. The 6th gen Ford Mustang is my favorite looks-wise. I think it is absolutely stunning. But do I recognize that automakers have to change the looks every once in a while to keep people interested in a vehicle? Yes, I do. Do I think they did this one well? Yeah, I do. Do I love all of it? No, and I think it would be better to walk y'all through the individual design features of this car so I can give you a more full picture of it. We're gonna start with the front end. This front end is so classic Mustang, and I absolutely love these headlights. They're so striking. You have the 3 little eyes just glaring you down. The grille isn't too over the top, but it's menacing enough. And I think the big benefit of the Ford Mustang GT over the Ford Mustang Dark Horse is that this car does not have eyeliner. The Dark Horse, when you watch that review, or if you already have, you'll notice that the entire grille kind of looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle robbing a bank. It looks like it has a black bandana over its eyes. And I'm not sold on it yet. Maybe I will be eventually, but I love that the GT doesn't have that. This side profile is sick. Not only are the factory wheels pretty cool on this car, we also have the 5-liter badge, which means we rock, and it just looks really nice from the side. The only thing I don't get about the side profile of this car is that the door handles aren't smooth. They're kind of boxy, like trapezoids, and I don't fully understand that. It's a little odd. The rear end is also classic Mustang, except it's modern. We got these tail lights, the quadruple exhaust, which sounds really sick, you'll see in a minute. And we've got this really tasteful little wing in body color. How cute. The only thing I don't get about the back of this car is the weird indention in the taillight area. It just doesn't really make sense to me. It kind of looks like a Venus flytrap. And when you sit in the trunk, you can check these little cars out right here and see the entire history of the Mustang. That's us. Rounding out our style tour of the Mustang is the interior. And is this interior perfect? No. Is it pretty good? Better than I expected for a Mustang? Yeah, I like it in here. There are a lot of different patterns going on. Multiple patterns on the steering wheel, multiple patterns on the dash area, multiple patterns even on the seats, and it just keeps your eye moving. Is it the best styling, the waviest, the most beautiful and flowing? No, it's boxy in here. It's a Mustang. But does Ford do well with what they have in here? Yeah, I think it looks really good. My only real complaint in my sight line, styling-wise in this car, is right here. We have this wireless phone charger pad, and it's black, but it just looks really dirty. And if you buy the car and you live your life and do the things you do, that charging pad's gonna get dirty, and it's gonna kind of look like you just stepped on it with dirty shoes. That's my only complaint about the inside. The next thing I absolutely love about this Ford Mustang GT is all of the data readily available to anybody in the car. It's amazing. Not only do we have 4 exhaust modes, track, sport, regular, and quiet, which, boom, quiet. You have all kinds of apps and information on here that I can show you. Before we get to that information, I just want to note that quiet exhaust is amazing, and I absolutely love that Ford does it, because there is nothing worse than getting in a sports car and being really, really loud at 6 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning, and your whole neighborhood hates you. To be able to turn off that exhaust is awesome, and I absolutely love that feature. Not only can we turn off the exhaust, we can also see anything we could ever dream of seeing. We have these auxiliary gauges right here, which to me remind me of the Dodge Challenger's performance pages. And I love Dodge's performance pages. You can just look at everything that's going on all the time. We leave the auxiliary gauges. We have track apps, acceleration timer, brake performance, lap timer, launch settings, shift indicator, drift brake, line lock, launch control, rev match. All of this is just so easily available. You just hit the little Mustang button right there. And not only do we have all of that going on right here, we can also customize our driver instrument cluster to show us really good and helpful information. We have cylinder head temp, engine oil temp, axle oil temp, engine oil pressure, inlet air temp, all kinds of stuff. And it is so well presented, easy to read. I love all of the data in this car. The third thing I absolutely love about this Ford Mustang GT is how it drives. It's just such a Mustang. Oh my goodness. When I say a Mustang drives like a Mustang, I feel like in general, people kind of just see Mustangs and they get it. It just drives like such a muscle car, but also it's so agile. I mean, oh, this car. As soon as you put an input into the steering wheel, it goes. It's right there. It's so good. And when you accelerate, the car sounds amazing. But then you pop it in 6th gear because you're done accelerating, and it's just riding quietly, and it rides smoothly on the highway. It's actually fairly quiet on the highway, but then under acceleration, it sounds amazing. Ready for this? It just sounds like an American muscle car should. It feels like one should. The clutch is extremely springy. When you take your foot back out of it, it pops out. It's like, all right, not loosey-goosey here. we are popping right back out. The pedals have this nice tension to them. The shifter is not super harshly notchy, but it's notchy enough, right? It doesn't just like flow from gate to gate. It notches down and it notches back up. You just feel like you're supposed to have fun in this vehicle. And then when you're going and you downshift, so here, put it in fourth gear, doing our thing, right? We're just hanging out, we're in fourth gear. Now let me downshift, okay? Go into third. Hit the gas, it immediately responds. It immediately jumps to the gas. It feels so good. And honestly, I feel like you would kind of expect a muscle car to feel a little billowy on the good roads, right? I don't think it feels very billowy at all. Like, it feels, this is fun. This is really, really fun because ultimately it's a Mustang. You've seen a million videos of them wrecking, leaving cars and coffee. You know that this car can get out of shape. And honestly, it doesn't feel fully under your control the whole time you're driving, which is great because when a car feels fully under your control, it's kind of boring. This car is just fun and it sounds good and I just want to do like 10 more laps. Oh, this car drives so well. Oh. The fourth thing I absolutely love about this Ford Mustang GT is the little details in it that just make you feel so special. And it starts with when you turn the car on, you get this nice little thumping noise. I hope you can hear that because it was really cool. You also have these really, really nice, realistic looking Mustang graphics on the screen. So when you change the driving mode, we have normal driving mode with that Mustang. Then we can go to sport mode with the sporty Mustang. Then we get on the track with the track Mustang. And they just look so good. The graphics are absolutely huge. They're really sharp and really well done. A few of the other really cool details in this car are that the door handles have little lights on the inside, so they're so easy to find. The door sill has Mustang that lights up, and then you have Mustang horsey puddle lights. The fifth and final thing I really love about this Ford Mustang GT is kind of an odd one, but it's one that really resonates with me. These seat bolsters on these seats are wide. So often I get in sports cars and the seat bolsters are so narrow. They're built for tiny, square bodies, literally like they've been molded after Richard Hammond. And I don't fit very well in those because I have wider hips, I have wider thighs, and I just have to learn to kind of be uncomfortable and kind of squeeze into those bolsters. These seats, the bolsters are high, but they're out wide, so you're comfortable. You also have a lot of room up in the shoulder area. My friend Bozy Tatarovich drove this exact Mustang GT a few weeks ago, and he absolutely loved that the bolsters didn't squeeze his upper body like they do in every other car. So if you're a bigger person, hips-wise, shoulders-wise, anywhere where you don't fit very well in normal sport seats, these sport seats are made so well for you and me and Bozy and all of us. Now, the one catch on these seats is that if you're in the passenger seat and you want to take a nap because you're on a long road trip, you lean back and your head, if you're my height, I'm 5'8½", your head hits right on the plastic right there. It is now time for the one thing I don't love so much about this 2024 Ford Mustang GT. And it's a tiny thing, but it also does matter while you're driving the car. So here I am, sitting in the driver's seat, sitting in my normal position, and we've tested this in a few different positions with a few different people of different heights, you know, just have them sit here and look down. And universally, it's hard to see the instrument cluster from this driver's seat. So the way I'm sitting right now, I have the seat as low as it will go, and still the digital instrument cluster, I have to look down at it. And the steering wheel kind of covers a little bit of the tachometer and a little bit of the speedometer. So I'm looking down and like a little bit of my view is missing. And is it that big of a deal? No, I can survive, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. But is it a little annoying to not be able to see everything in front of me? Yes, it's just a sightline issue, and you get used to it. I'm used to it by now. I've been driving the car for a week. But do I wish I could see everything without going like this? Yes, I do. Another sightline that's not so great is I can't see anything over my left shoulder. If you watch my reviews, you know I love to look over my shoulders before I change lanes or do anything. Can't see anything over here. So sightlines in this car, not awesome. But you know what is awesome? The sound of this thing! Oh, what a car. It's so good. I don't care if I can't see the gauges. I can feel everything I need to feel. And then you put it in a higher gear and it's so quiet. It's in third right now, so it's not super quiet. But if I pop this thing in sixth, easy, cruiser. The Ford Mustang is childlike joy, and too often adults are afraid to have childlike joy. They're afraid of what people will think of them if they just go out in public and they do a cartwheel because it's fun. The Mustang tells you it's okay to do that. It's okay to drive a car that feels like a race car bed, because at the end of the day, you're gonna die. You might as well have fun while you're here. I hope y'all really enjoyed this video and maybe learned a few things about the Mustang. We'll see you next time.